Hi, I'm Michael, and this is Maker's Workshop. Today, we're hanging out with Stuart.
Hey guys, I'm Stuart.
And we're going to be making a cup holder for his Pearson 26.
Yep, for my sailboat. The sailboat's going to be my senior project, and I'm excited to work here and make a new cup holder for it.
Alright,
let's get started. Sweet.
Let's do it. The first order of business was using the table saw to cut the walnut Stuart picked out down to the rough size we wanted for the cup holder. Stuart wanted to add some resin, so he sketched out a curve he liked to use as a stencil on the scroll saw. And then it was time to put together a mold for the resin pour. One of my favorite techniques for smaller resin pours like this is to cover chipboard in Tyvek tape. It's really easy to build a custom sized box with and is nice, lightweight, while still being easy to make leak proof. Stuart hot glued his walnut pieces into place to keep the walnut from floating in the resin. We then mixed up some resin. This is Total Boat 2-to-1 with medium hardware. The color is going to be coming from some royal blue pigment. And then it was time for the first pour. This particular resin can only handle about a 1/4 inch pour at a time, so we let this first layer thicken up substantially before going in with the second pour to fill the gap the rest of the way. One of the best parts about using the chipboard for the mold is that it makes for a really easy unmolding. And then we pop both panels onto the drum sander to get them nice and level. After that, I used the table saw to square off all the sides, and then Stuart sanded everything up to a 220 grit by hand. The plan was to use dowels to form these three pieces into a U-shape. We sketched the thickness of the back piece onto the top and bottom resin pieces to help map out where to drill holes for each dowel on the drill press. We started with a Forstner bit to hollow out 2 spots for the 2 cups on the top resin piece, but quickly pivoted and used a hole saw instead. It was much faster and handled the material much more smoothly. At this point, we had the idea to add lighting to this. I used the router table to add an inset over the dowel holes, and then Stuart went in and drilled a series of shallow holes that will house each LED. From here, assembly was nice and straightforward. Stuart dipped each small dowel piece in wood glue and then tapped them into place. For good measure, we also added some more glue into the larger seam before using a mallet to smush it all together. We began the same process for the bottom resin piece. This is the one that'll house the LEDs, so we wiped off the excess wood glue and then carefully placed a row of LED lights that were hot glued into place. Now the trick here is that as I put the dowels together, I also threaded wires for the LEDs into holes, drilled through the back piece. This will make it so all the wires are coming out the back of the cup holder, towards the wall it will be mounted on. Once we were sure we had it all lined up, we used a mallet to secure the bottom into place. This glue up dried overnight, and then I gave it one last square off on the bandsaw. In addition to rounding off the edges on the router table. Stuart was going to hardwire this and the electrical already on the boat, so all he did at the shop to start was solder all the positive wires together and all the negative wires together to make it for an easier installation later.
Wow.
And so this is the finished cup holder. It came out fantastic, but it's going on Stuart's boat, so let's see what he thinks about it.
Oh, I love it. I think it came out really, really nice. The Total Vote epoxy just really looks amazing in the wood. This was my first time ever doing a resin pour, and like I'd worked with epoxy before, but never to actually use it with art. And I think it looks amazing. The combination of functionality and beauty is really there. So I'm really, really thrilled with how this cup holder turned out.
After that, Stuart went back to Rhode Island to make a boat. Looks like a lot of work. I did not help. None of these people are me. Nice work, guys. Put your back into it. I am not a boat expert by any measure, but Stuart is. I will link the blog he kept on the entire process of restoring this sailboat if you're interested in the description. Go check it out. It's an interesting read. Really, the most important part though was getting the cup holder into place. I think we can all agree that it made the whole boat. And then the big day arrived. I was entrusted with the job of moral support. Partially because of social distancing, partially because I get seasick, and partially because no one invited me on the maiden voyage. It's alright. Looking good, guys. And if you like this video, don't forget to click subscribe.